بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, brothers and sisters and friends. And we're continuing from the last episode, the Qur'anic argument for God's existence. If you remember, the Qur'anic verses, which were in chapter 52, verse 35 to 36, gave us four logical possibilities to explain anything that begins to exist. In the language of Islamic thought, anything that is makhluq, created, and muhdath, it came into being. And what are these four logical explanations? These four logical explanations are: did that thing that began, that was created, that emerged, did it come from nothing? Did it create itself? Was it ultimately created by something else created? Or was it ultimately created by something that was uncreated? These are the four logical possibilities. And we addressed the first logical possibility. And that logical possibility was, well, did it come from nothing, or from nothing, or via nothing? Of course it didn't. And we discussed a contention to this, where some atheists and some skeptics say, what about the quantum vacuum? And we show that the quantum vacuum is not actually nothing, it is something. And unfortunately, there is another contention, and this comes via the mouth, via the works of the outspoken and highly acclaimed atheist Professor Lawrence Krauss. Professor Lawrence Krauss wrote a book, A Universe from Nothing. And just to summarize, essentially he's saying that when there is no space, no time, there is no particles, no radiation, that's nothing. And the universe came from nothing. But interestingly, what Professor Krauss is actually saying is that his nothing is something, because his nothing has mass, has weight. It's all complicated physics, but the point is, he is redefining the term nothing to mean something physical. And interestingly, he's had negative reviews by academics. For example, there is a professor called Professor David Albert, and he's a professor of philosophy, and he's discussed physics at length. And this is what he had to say about Professor Lawrence Krauss's work. He said, Krauss seems to be thinking that these vacuum states amount to the relativistic quantum field theoretical version of there not being any physical stuff at all. But that's just not right. Relativistic quantum field theoretical vacuum states, no less than giraffes or refrigerators or solar systems, are particular arrangements of elementary physical stuff. What does this mean in normal English? What this means is Professor Krauss's nothing is something. And interestingly, the way to actually try and expose his assertions that the universe came from nothing is to look at it from a linguistic point of view, because Krauss uses the word nothing in a linguistic deviated sense, because his nothing actually means something, because he's saying nothing is something physical. It has mass. There's still some elementary stuff there. But what we mean by nothing is the absence of anything, the absence of something, or the absence of that thing in question. And therefore, it's quite interesting, because it's as if Krauss has used the word nothing in the following way. Yesterday, I had a great breakfast, and it was nothing. Or, my wife made me an amazing lunch, and it was nothing. Or even, nothing tastes great with a bit of whipped cream. Or even, outside of the auditorium, I met nobody, and they showed me directions to this room. So the point here, you could just see that he's basically just redefining the term nothing from this perspective. But also, what we have to understand is that he's made some telling admissions in his book. This is what he writes. in the introduction, he says, I stress the word could here because we may never have enough empirical information to resolve this question unambiguously. And on page 147, he says, because of the observational and related theoretical difficulties associated with working out the details, I expect we may never achieve more than plausibility in this regard. So what is he essentially saying? It's not definite. It's just plausible, and I've redefined the word nothing to mean something. So really, the universe didn't come from nothing in the traditional sense. It came from something which is now my nothing, but really means something physical. Confused? Exactly. So don't worry about it. The point is, this is how you address popular culture, atheistic narratives. So let's go to the next option. What's the next option? After did the universe come from nothing? It is, did it create itself? Okay? Did it bring itself into being? Well, this is absurd. Why? Why is it absurd? Because it means that something existed, or the universe existed and didn't exist at the same time. Well, let me just raise some questions. Can I exist and not exist at the same time? Can you exist or not exist at the same time? Can anything exist and not exist at the same time? No, because for something to create itself, it means it once wasn't there in order for it to be created. But to create itself, it means it once was there before it was there in order for it to be there. Confused? Exactly. That's why self-creation is crazy, frankly. But let me just pose a question that would stick in your mind. It doesn't require an answer, obviously. Here's the question. Can your mother give birth to herself? Messy idea. I know. But that's the whole point. And it shows that you can't have self-creation. But as usual, brothers and sisters and friends, we have contentions, okay? And a contention to this is, hold on a second, Mr. Hamza Zozis. We can have self-creation. Look at biology. Biology. You have asexual reproduction, which entails that you have a single cell or a cell, and it basically splits in two. It creates another one of its cells, another self. Well, this is actually a flawed analogy. Because if you understand this analogy, it actually proves what we're trying to say. Because in order for the cell to develop into another cell, so there's two cells now, you need energy outside of that cell in order to create another cell. Just like the universe. In order for the universe to be here, it requires a power or energy outside of itself, which is best explained by God's power, God's creative power. But interestingly, the reason the analogy is flawed is because it assumes the first cell is always there, and therefore is claiming the universe was always there. But that's not the case, because we know the universe began. So there wasn't something before the universe, like another universe, in order for this universe to come into existence. And even if there was, you still need a power outside of it in order for the universe to be created in the first place. So from this perspective, asexual reproduction is not a valid contention. And this is why, and I'm trying to get his name right, I do apologize, Al-Khattabi, he says, this is even more fallacious argument, because if something does not exist, how can it be described as having power? How could it create anything? How could it do anything? If these two arguments are refuted, then it is established that they have a creator, so let them believe in him. But before we jump to conclusions, let's go to the third logical possibility. What is the third logical possibility? Do you remember? Well, ultimately, maybe the universe was created by something created. But there's a big problem here, because let's apply this properly. If universe 1, this universe, was created by something else created like universe 2, and this universe 2 was created by something else called universe 3. But if universe 3 is created, then it requires a creator, something brought into existence. So universe 3 is as a result of universe 4. Now if this goes on forever, are we ever going to have universe 1 our universe? Of course we won't. Let me give you some examples. Imagine I am a sniper. I'm holding my gun and I'm pointing it towards you. And I want to shoot you. But before I shoot, I have to ask permission from the sniper behind me. Excuse me, sir, can I shoot him or her? And the sniper behind me says, well, I have to ask permission if I can give you permission. If that goes on forever, am I ever going to shoot you? With my water gun, by the way, okay? Am I ever going to spray your face with water? No, because if that goes on forever, I will never ever get permission to spray your face with my water pistol. You see? Let me give you another example. Dominoes. I like this example. Say I'm looking into the horizon, okay? And there's a row of dominoes. I could see the dominoes in front of me, and they go beyond the horizon. I don't know if they end or whatever is happening. They go beyond the horizon. What I do know though is that every single domino I can see has fallen. What does it mean about the domino chain? Does it go on forever, or was an ultimate beginning? Well, if it went on forever, I could never experience any dominoes falling. There must have been that first push, right? So if we apply this to the universe, we know the universe couldn't be created by something created, ultimately. Because if we continue with that line of thinking, it's absurd. We will never have the universe in the first place. Let's translate this kind of philosophical jargon in a very cute way. Right. If we say something created the universe and it's created, then what created the universe that created the universe? Then what created the universe that created the universe that created the universe? Then what created the universe that created the universe that created the universe that created the universe? And what created the universe that 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 created the universe? Do you see where I'm going here? If you go on forever, you never have creation in the first place. So we can happily slay. We don't slay anybody, okay, brothers and sisters? We can happily say that this universe ultimately couldn't have been created by another thing that was created. And interestingly, Dr. Jafar Idris, he says the following. He says, there would be no series of actual causes, but only a series of non-existence, meaning nothing, as Ibn Taymiyyah explained. The fact, however, is that there are existence around us. We have the universe. Therefore, the ultimate cause must be something other than temporal causes, other than something that was created, basically. So Dr. Jafar Idris is basically saying that, we can't have a universe that was created by something else created, because we wouldn't have the universe in the first place.